Hey everyone, ever wanted to make your English sound just a little more natural when you're speaking with American colleagues or friends? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down 3 super simple tweaks you can start using today. This isn't about changing your accent or who you are, it's just about adding a few handy tools to your communication kit. Let's dive in.
So, how do we actually do it? Look, the goal here is not to completely overhaul the way you speak. It's really just about understanding a few little nuances that can seriously boost your clarity and, honestly, your confidence.
Okay, first things first, and this is really important. Filipino English is a totally valid and legitimate dialect. What we're talking about today are not corrections. Think of them more like contextual adjustments. They're just small tweaks for those specific moments, maybe in international business or social settings, where you want your message to land as smoothly as possible.
Okay, our first tip is something I like to call the redundancy tweak. You hear this one all the time, and trust me, it is incredibly easy to adjust. Have you ever found yourself saying this? Please repeat it again. Now, don't get me wrong, everyone knows exactly what you mean. But with one tiny change, we can make it sound even more natural to an American ear.
So instead of repeat it again, a native speaker will almost always say something like, "Could you repeat that?" Or maybe just, "Could you say that again?" So why is that? It actually comes down to a really simple concept.
It's all about this idea of redundancy. See, the word repeat by itself already means to say or do something again. So when you add again at the end, it's kind of like saying, please say it again. Just by dropping that one extra word, your request becomes tighter, more direct. It's a small change, but it has a really big impact.
Awesome. Let's move on to our second tweak. This one is less about redundant words and more about a specific grammar rule that, often trips people up when they're asking questions about something that happened in the past.
All right, here's our next phrase. Did you eat lunch? Again, the meaning is perfectly clear. No one's going to be confused. But there's a specific English grammar rule at play here that we can use to make this sound just a little bit crisper. The key here is that verb. A native speaker would say, did you eat lunch, using the base form of the verb. So why not use the past tense, ate? Well, the answer is all in how the sentence is put together. It's because that little helper verb did is already doing all the heavy lifting. It's carrying the past tense for the entire question. And since did already told us we're talking about the past, the main verb, eat, gets to just relax and stay in its simple base form. So the structure is always, did you eat? Did you go? Simple as that. All right, we are on to our third and final tweak. Now this one is a bit more about natural word flow and nuance than it is about a strict grammar rule like the last one. It all has to do with the word already.
I already sent the email. Let me be crystal clear. This is 100% correct. Nobody is going to bat an eye. But remember, we're talking about those subtle shifts, those tiny changes that can make your English flow just a little more smoothly.
So, what are the alternatives? Well, a lot of the time, a native speaker might just say, I sent the email, and let the context do the work. Or, if they really want to add that emphasis, they'll often shift to what's called the present perfect tense and say, I've already sent the email. And again, this isn't about right versus wrong. Not at all. It's about rhythm and that conversational flow. For some reason, saying I've already sent just has a slightly more natural cadence in everyday American English. It's a subtle thing, but it's there.
Okay, let's bring it all home. We've just added 3 awesome new tools to your communication toolkit. So let's do a super quick recap just to lock them in place.
So to recap, instead of saying repeat it again, give could you repeat that a try. Swap out did you ate for the much cleaner did you eat. And for that extra natural flow, you can play around with shifting from I already sent to I've already sent.
And that's really what this is all about. These aren't massive, life-altering changes. They are small, subtle tweaks that, when you put them into practice, can make a surprisingly big difference in how clearly your message comes across and, just as important, how confident you feel saying it.
So I'll leave you with this. Don't try to change everything all at once. That's a recipe for disaster. Just pick one. Which of these small tweaks will you try out in your next conversation? Because making that one conscious choice, that's the first step to building a powerful new habit.